come sit down. Here's the presentation.
One of the mustards out here. How's everyone's day going so far?
Good.
Good deal, guys. For those of you that took the ride up on the mountain, how was that? Good deal, guys. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna jump right on into this, all right? You guys, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Iditarod. Who here knows what the Iditarod is? Bam, bam. Perfect. For those of you that don't know what the Iditarod is, the Iditarod is basically the Super Bowl of the dog world for us. It's our big 1,000-mile race that we hold every year. At the end of the first week of March, it'll begin. But Joe Redington Sr., the founder of the Iditarod, he wanted to create something big, something special. It was going to bring everybody together, you know, not just mushers, not just dog people. He wanted everyone to come out and see the passion that we have for our sport and our dogs, and hopefully share that same passion with everyone else. Originally, the Iditarod was not supposed to be this big 1,000-mile race that we have today. Originally, this race was supposed to start off right here in Seward. From there, they'd cut over into Anchorage, head north until they got to this little village of Wasilla. Once you got there, you'd head west, all the way until you got to the little town of Iditarod, hence the name for the race. Well, there's a couple things wrong with that. One of the biggest things wrong with it, no one really knew where Iditarod was or what Iditarod was. Just so you guys know what Iditarod is an old ghost mining town that was run down back in the 40s. So they quickly got rid of that idea since no one really knew where it was. That's hard to go somewhere where you don't really know where it is you're going. But they started spitballing different ideas for the Iditarod. They wanted to come up with something that was going to, you know, be big. Well, one of the biggest things that the Iditarod turned into was a tribute run to the Dysphoria run of 1925. I'm going to talk about that for just a second so it makes a little more sense later on. But back in 1925, there was this bad outbreak of Dysphoria in this little village of Nome. Happened at the worst time possible, happened in the middle of winter, in the middle of one of the nastiest winter storms Alaska had seen at that time. So with that, they were trying to come up with this idea on how to get this serum, how to get this medicine into Nome to basically save this little village of Nome. Well, they spitballed a couple different ideas. One of the biggest ideas was boat. Well, boats are all fine and dandy, but right off Nome, right off the port right here, it's frozen 6 to 7 months out of the year. No boats are making it into port. Planes were operational, but like I said, it happened in the middle of one of the nastiest winter storms Alaska had seen at that time. No plane was going to leave unless they wanted to find the side of a mountain. So with that, the only reliable way to get through the interior of Alaska was a dog team. So they quickly came up with the idea that they were going to relay the serum. They were going to send someone from Nome all the way to Nenana because they found serum as close as Fairbanks. So with that, they got that serum to go down to Nenana. Then they started relaying that serum from musher to musher. There was about 20 different teams that participated in this serum run. Each team averaging around anywhere from 35 to 50 miles per leg of their stretch, except for one team. And that one team, very popular team, they don't get enough credit up until recently. They recently had their own movie. And that name is going to be Togo. Anyone here know about Togo? Yeah? Well, for those of you who don't know, if you'll look right here, picture to my right-hand side. The musher, Leonard Sepla, the dog team, with his trusty lead dog all the way over here to the left-hand side. That is Togo. At a whopping 12 years old, Togo led his team through the hardest part of the Dysphoria run and the longest part, crossing over 250 miles of mountain passes, frozen river, the Yukon River while it was still frozen, and parts of the Bering Sea. Pretty impressive to see at a 12-year-old do that, because I look at my 9-year-old over there. Actually, he's not in there anymore. Darn. Well, I had a 9-year-old down here. I took him back to the yard. But, you know, I look at my older dogs. We're not making it that far. We'd be lucky to make it 5 miles. So that's a pretty impressive thing to know that a dog had that much will, had that much drive to get the job done. And all he was doing was what he wanted to do, which was run. But, like I said, they wanted to pay tribute to that serum run. And the best way they did it was coming all the way back through until you got to Ruby. Once you got to Ruby, you were back on the Yukon River, and you follow that all the way until you got to the coast. Once you got to the coast, you follow that all the way until you got to the little village of Nome. That's where they wanted to pay a lot of tribute to it, but that's not the only way they paid tribute to that. So they looked back on records and they found out that serum that ended up in Fairbanks actually started off way down here in Anchorage. It showed up on a boat right before the winter hit. They put it on the one and only railroad system up to Fairbanks, and that's where it hung out until it was found for that Dysphoria run. And that's where they really paid a lot of tribute, was starting off where the serum started off as well. So from there, they would start off in Anchorage, come up here to Wasilla, then they'd head west until they got to the little town of Pecotna. And then, like I said, you'd meet back up once you got up here to Ruby, follow the Yukon River all the way down to the coast. But Joe Redington Sr., the founder, he realized he was accomplishing his goal. He was bringing everybody together, but he didn't realize in which way he was doing it. So we look at all these little dots on the Iditarod Trail, these little paw prints. Those are checkpoints / villages that we have to stop at in the middle of these rigs. We have to let vets assess our dogs, make sure all of our dogs are healthy, up to par, and can continue the race. With that, after the first couple Iditarods, hundreds of dog teams were piling through each one of these checkpoints. These people weren't used to seeing a whole lot of people besides other people from villages when they were trading, doing their hunting and fishing, all that stuff. So after the first couple Iditarods, hundreds of teams are just barreling through these little villages. Basically turns into Christmas Day for all these people. It's a big block party. Everyone's going out to the main street in this village. They're sharing all these mushrooms and these dogs as they're coming in and taking off from each checkpoint. As soon as Joe Redington Sr. found this out, he came up with a plan to add more of these little villages as much as he possibly could. So with that, that's why we see this lower route right here. We call it the southern route. So every other year we will change up which trail we actually take for the Iditarod. On even years, we will take the northern route to Ruby and really pay homage to that Vesperia run. On odd years, we will come down here on the southern route, past Iditarod into Anvig. From there, you will then head up north until you get to Caltag. Once you get to Caltag, you're back on the coast and you're back on the original trail.